If something is good, why ruin it? You know, it's never a good sign when the movie you're watching says the very thing in a meta way that you're thinking, and you're like, why am I here? Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to that channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Well, it's finally here. That sequel to that big comedy that everybody's been waiting for after that trailer dropped. Everybody's like, yes! Oh, nostalgia, member berries, member berries. And look, if that's all you want from your comedy, this one's going to have nostalgia in droves. If you want a good movie, nah. All right, so let me say this before I get into this. If you like your comedies more the lines of Beverly Hills Cop, Distinguished Gentleman, Boomerang, Harlem Nights, the more edgier side of Eddie Murphy, this film's not going to be for you. If you're more into the Dr. Doolittle, Nutty Professor era of Eddie Murphy, then you might enjoy some things here. But I feel like if you enjoy the things here, the road to get here is a little harder for me to understand because you came from the original was a very rugged, edgy R-rated comedy, and this one ends up being a very bland retread of a film that just pales in comparison to. And I'll say this: this movie is not devoid of any laughs. Are there chuckles? Sure, there are chuckles. But when you carry the title of Coming to America, for me, there should be at least one, just one belly laugh that I can hang my hat on, and you'll start reciting that line over and over again as it just goes on in history. There is nothing about this film that invokes that reaction or has that memorable, lasting comedic punch that I think if you're going to go back to this world, you sort of need to have to justify the reason for this to exist. So for me, the best thing this movie does is give you that occasional smile that you get when they just throw all the nostalgia and all the cameos at you, and you kind of just like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that's all right. Cool. Good to see that. That's nice. But it never invokes laughter or true enjoyment, and that smile quickly subsides and turns into sadness when you realize that the nostalgia and cameos and just throwing everything at the kitchen sink that we've done better before at you is all that this film really has to offer. For me, my greatest fear with this movie came true. I saw it in the trailer. I mentioned in the trailer is the shaft of it all. When you have established characters that I think the audience truly is here for and care for, and there's like an emotional attachment to, you force us to like these new characters or try to attach ourselves to these new characters, and they just don't have the same charisma or emotional ability to connect with the audience as Eddie did, as Prince Akeem and his wife Lisa in the first one. And a lot of the time I spent this movie, it's like, why are we wasting time with these characters that I don't care about and I don't want, versus spending time with the characters that are more important and are just better at invoking some type of attachment to him. Look, Fowler may be a good guy, he may be a good actor, I don't know, but in this particular film, I have absolutely no emotional resonance or character connection with him whatsoever. And so for me, unfortunately, he doesn't connect in the same way that Eddie did as Akeem, going through that relationship and all that stuff. What makes that first Coming to America is that while it is edgy, it is raw, it is new, it also is heartfelt. There's a romance there. For this film, they're trying to recreate that. It's a lot of like going through the exact same formula that and steps that you guys did with that, almost beat for beat, and sometimes punch jokes are almost the same. They're just done in a much tamer way and done by someone who does not have the ability to carry the comedy or carry the heartfelt part of the story that is needed to make all of that punch. And for me, I think this movie, if you're going to come back to this world, if you're going to try to do anything different with Coming to America, I think it would have been smarter to spend most of your attention towards the daughters and say, hey, we're going to go that way. At least the gender swap would have made this feel somewhat new. But when you're doing a one-to-one from one guy going to New York, switch it from the guy from New York coming to Zamunda, there needs to be a little bit more of an attachment to the lead for that to work. And unfortunately, it just that he is what falls flat, and thus going back to revisit this and almost it being a 1-to-1 just feels even less of a like why are we here? And so that's where I sort of kept going back throughout this entire movie as I'm watching it. I'm like, huh, chuckle, cool. Trevor Noah's there. Cool, that's cool. Oh, sweet, nice, that's fun. But I'm sitting here like, why are we here? Like, what did someone sit there and say, hey, I've got this story that I need to tell, or I've got this thing that I actually wanna get across. I never get that from this. And what I get is somebody was like, you know what would be cool? Let's go ahead and bring back all those characters. Let's go have some fun. Let's go ahead and just sit in nostalgia for an entire hour and a half, hour and 50 minutes. And like what's crazy is I can tell that this cast is having fun. They are having a blast. You can even see that by the blooper reel that they decide to tack on at the end, which, by the way, is never a good sign for a comedy if they put a blooper reel at the end of it. Is sort of to try to trick your brain. It's like, hey, remember, this was funnier than you thought. But the blooper reel shows that they are actually having fun, and on the set, I think there's a good time. I just wish that guy got conveyed in whatever it was we were watching, because I never got the enjoyment as a viewer that they got as performers. So on my scale of once is enough, play it again, Sam, or give me a time stone so I never have to think about it again, this is in that give me a time stone. I never want to think about this film again. Like if I'm watching two films that are almost identical to each other in the structure and what they're trying to get across, I'm going to always watch the original, the better one, the one that we all care and love and have lines that we're going to repeat from, as opposed to the one that in a week nobody's going to be talking about this film. And I think all in all, what made the original Coming to America work so well was the heart. And sadly, this is a film that is devoid of heart, originality, and edge, and sort of just leaves you with this husk of a comedy that you're like, I guess it's cool to go back to this world, but I was perfectly fine just living in that original without having to come back to this. And I think you just created a film that now just looks up and is vastly inferior to a film that just had more care, more heart, more energy, more edge, and a better story, a newer story. And I think if you're gonna watch either of the Coming to America, just stick with the original. There's really no need to watch this film. Those are my thoughts. Have you guys watched Coming to America? What did you guys think? Go ahead and leave your comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI, or you can leave us an email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We are there. We are currently doing the history of sitcoms through WandaVision with guest host Jamie Jarrett. And we also have a sister podcast called You Can't Do That Anymore. We talk about classic films like Gone with the Wind, Back to the Future, or American Beauty, and look at those films when they came out versus today, and see if they can get away with the same things they did then through the eyes of 2021. But like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.